What's up, everyone? It's Phoenix. So, after watching the crossover, Elseworlds crossover, which, let me say, was amazing, there was so much goodness about it. But the one thing that stood out about this crossover the most was in part 2 with Batwoman, the debut of Batwoman, Ruby Rose as Batwoman. Oh boy. She was just fantastic and opens the door to an amazing series that could be done with the open-ended storyline and the amazing introduction to this phenomenal character. Right? So in this universe, Batwoman Kate Kane is Bruce Wayne's cousin. And Bruce Wayne, for whatever reason, has disappeared for 3 years. And that opens the door to multiple things. First of all, it opens the door to Batman actually existing and being introduced at some point down the line. Now, obviously, that can't happen due to legal issues. The DCEU not wanting Batman or really Superman to appear in the Arrowverse, which is a shame because it does limit what the Arrowverse can do. However, with the introduction of Batwoman and this plotline that potentially down the line we could see an Arrowverse version of Batman at some point returning or whatever, it really opens the door to so many things because Batman is filled with the best villains in the entire DC universe and in the entire comic book verse. Okay, Batman has some of the most iconic villains that seeing them on the screen, like, it doesn't even have to be the Joker. I'm not even talking about the Joker. I'm talking about Poison Ivy. I'm talking about Penguin. I'm talking about the Riddler, Mr. Freeze, Nora Freeze, who was in the crossover event. There's so many great villains that can be introduced into the Arrowverse that aren't necessarily big screen, but at the same time still deserve recognition, like Clayface. You would never see Clayface be done on the big screen, but you could easily see Clayface being integrated into the Arrowverse. Like, all these things there's so much potential for a Batwoman show that it really opens the door to anything. Like, Batwoman and the Bat family are probably the most recognizable characters in the DC universe. Batman is the number one most appeared comic book character of all time. He has appeared in both Marvel and DC and all over. Like, you can't walk the streets without knowing Batman, at least the name. And even more famous than him is his villains. There are so many great villains that can be introduced that have already been touched upon in Gotham, but not really because, Gotham doesn't really have Batman in it due to legal issues. They have Bruce Wayne and he's slowly becoming Batman, but it's just not the same thing as having Batwoman. Now, the main concern about introducing all these characters and having her own show would be the Gotham comparison. Everyone would be comparing it to Gotham and all of that, just like, Supergirl was compared to Superman and all of that. But the thing is that Batwoman is completely different from Batman, right? Supergirl is fairly similar to Superman. Like, she has the same origins, she has the same background, she has pretty much the same villains. And for her, she basically is the female version of Superman. But for Batwoman, she has a different origin story. She has a different set of villains, although many of them can be the same. And she is her own character. She is her own thing. Like she's not really considered the female version of Batman. In fact, that's actually Batgirl who's considered that. But that also opens the door for so many infamous Batman characters, not only Batwoman, but Nightwing, Robin, Jason Todd, having Batman being brought in for short cameos. I don't know who would play Batman, but I'm sure we could figure something out. There's so many characters that could be introduced. Oracle or Batgirl. We could even tell the Killing Joke story. Maybe not to the full extent because they don't have the rights to Joker, but there could be like some sort of other version of it. Now, I wouldn't necessarily do that, but that is a possibility. But there's so many villains that can be introduced, like Mr. Freeze, Clayface, Baby Doll, Doctor Strange, Hugo Strange, I should say. There's so many characters. Talia Ghul, Ra's al Ghul. We already know those characters exist because Arrow has faced them off. So it would be neat to actually see them integrated into the show, like with Batwoman. Like having Batwoman get her own show would be really, really cool. Now I think there are rumors that it would debut in 2019. There are rumors of confirmation, but there are currently no confirmation at all, not officially anyways. But with the positive reception of Batwoman in the crossover, you can almost guarantee that they're going to do a show about it, especially since it's set up so well. And I could really see this, being fleshed out and becoming a real thing. I'm excited to see where they go with this, and I'm sure many others are just as excited to see where this goes, if Batwoman gets her own show, if all of these villains are introduced. Like we got a little tease of them in the crossover with the names. There was Cobblepot, meaning Penguin. There was B. Carlo, meaning Clayface. There was P. Isley, meaning Poison Ivy. There's Enigma, obviously meaning the Riddler. There are teases of Bane. There's teases of Mr. Freeze. There was teases of, Nora Freeze actually had an appearance. So there's all of that. And I think seeing that actually come alive would be really cool and would be totally epic to see. Anyways, comment down below what you guys think. Do you want to see a Batwoman TV show, CW show specifically? What would you want to see in a Batwoman TV show? What are the types of villains you would want to see? Would you want to see Batman's villains? Would you want to see some unique villains of her own? I know she does actually have some villains of her own that are not associated with Batman. I forget who, but she definitely has her own rogues gallery. What characters would you want to see? Would you want to see, Nightwing, Robin, Jason Todd? There are so many characters that could be introduced through Batwoman. It is really exciting to see this. And also, who would you want to see play Batman? That's more important. If he could have a cameo, if he could appear in a couple of episodes just like Superman has, who do you think would make a really good Batman for the Arrowverse? Anyways, peace out, guys. It's been a blast.